The wind stirred at 3 a.m., slicing through the hushed spruce forest like a whisper of warning. Lauro's dog team strained against the harnesses, paws skittering across hard frozen tundra. His breath came in ragged bursts, each exhale visible in the pale moonlight. He knew this territory. Endless miles of snow-draped wilderness, creeks hidden under ice, drifted ridges, open tundra where the horizon merged with sky. But tonight, fatigue had crept in, silent, insidious, and made every decision heavier, every sense duller than usual. He scanned the white world ahead. The sled's runners hummed, each timber slab beneath the musher's weight vibrating with the cold. The dogs, 6 sturdy Alaskan huskies, were trained, reliable, but they read Lauro's trembling half-confidence. He liked to push them. Long miles, little rest, the tradition of the wilderness that demanded more than comfort. But wilderness never forgives slack or misjudgment. Up ahead, a fork. A trail marked faintly by flags, old, bleached, and partly buried under the snowdrift. 2 lines. The one to the right followed a gentle grade and then dropped into a valley. The one to the left appeared to climb, cutting through tight trees and winding to a ridge. He paused. The moon hid behind clouds. He pulled on the sled's brake and stood up, peering into the black-blue night, trying to feel the terrain rather than see it. His mind wavered. The tags said left would save time. He thought the ridge would give them a better vantage, a shortcut across the top. The dogs rested their heads, as if waiting. He pointed. They lunged. He wished he'd taken the valley trail. The ridge path turned steeper, the snow deeper, the wind howled up the incline. The dogs struggled, their breath steamed. The sled bogged. He cursed quietly, yanked on the brake, dug out the runners, roughed the snow. He considered turning back, but the fatigue told him, keep going. It promised reward for pushing. Then the darkness thickened. The moon emerged only fleetingly between clouds. He lost sight of the flags. The wind changed direction. He heard a crack in the ice, a whisper of danger. He edged forward. A ridge slope gave way to a drop. The sled tipped. The runners caught a hidden drift ridge. One dog yelped, the harness strained. Lauro cursed and braced himself. He leaned back, gripped tight on the handlebar. The sled slid, slowly, then faster. Branches snapped. The team lunged into the drop. He cut the brake hard. The sled bucked. He landed hard, sliding into the snowbank. The dogs skidded into a thicket of spruce and silent ice. Everything froze. He rose, shaking snow from his jacket, heart pounding. One of the dogs limped. The runner underneath the sled cracked, wood splitting under weight and cold. He jabbed a headlamp from his pack, its beam flickered. He inspected the runner. A splintered edge, weakened. He checked the dog, twisted paw. The other sniffed, restless, unsettled. He realized how far from the flagged trail he'd gone. The darkness, fatigue, and that ill-timed shortcut had cost him. He made a decision. Abandon the ridge, mark the spot, hitch the dogs, and push down to the valley trail he should have taken. That walk alone he would have done easily, light and steady. But now, hours of backtracking, the runner useless, the dog injured. The chill seeped into his bones as the wind increased. He packed the injured dog into the sled's cargo. The other dogs stayed harnessed, tired but resolute. He leveraged the sled's broken runner as a makeshift shovel to dig a ramp off the thicket. Time stretched. The darkness expanded. He doubted his orientation. He stopped often, set cairns of branches, marked the snow with bold X's. He looked back at the ridge's silhouette, an ominous scar against the night sky. By the time he hit the valley trail again, the moon had dropped behind clouds. The wind seemed to push him downward, as if the mountain itself hissed at his audacity. The dogs sensed it. They moved slower, ears back, their tails low. He gave them food, warm broth pulled from his pack. He crouched beside the sled, brushing snow from the injured paw, checking for frostbite. Nothing broken, but limp, he swore under his breath. The minutes ticked by like hours. He guided the team down through creek crossings where ice cracked under weight, through forest where trees loomed like sentinels. He thought about the cost. Time lost, the injured dog, the wasted energy, fuel drained by the reroute, risk multiplied. The wilderness had a ledger, and he just paid a hefty entry fee. Suddenly, the wind died. Silence dropped. He looked up. The stars peeked through the torn clouds. He loosened his shoulders. The rest of the trail ahead looked gentle. The valley's flatness offered solace. The dogs quickened, sensing nearing home. But one more test came. A shallow ravine, width perhaps 10 feet, but full of hidden ice. The sled nearly flipped. Lauro hooked the brake and leaned, voice sharp at the dogs to hold. They obeyed. The sled cleared, just. He let out a breath he didn't know he'd held. He realized how close he'd come to catastrophe, how a wrong turn, a moment's indecision in dark, had turned a routine night into a costly gamble. Reaching the cabin he knew so well, his refuge after the long Iditarod haul of miles and miles, he collapsed onto the deck, hands shaking. He unhooked the dogs, gave them warm meals, praised them softly. The injured one limped off but stand up proud. He lit the stove, unrolled his sleeping bag in the small cabin. Outside, the wind returned, stronger. He watched the flicker of the kerosene lamp cast shadows on the pine logs. He thought about tomorrow. The miles ahead, the broken runner, the need to repair, the dog's recovery. He thought about how every choice in the wild matters. A dark turn, a misread trail marker, fatigue, these are the silent enemies of survival. Sleep came, but not deep. He dreamed of trees bending, of ice cracking, of a mountain voice calling him to pay attention. Dawn came gray and pale. He stepped outside, felt the cold bite, saw the ridge he'd climbed the previous night looming overhead. He nodded to it. It didn't judge, it simply stood. He resolved. Tomorrow he would fix the runner, check the dog's paw again, remark the trail and move forward. The cost had been high, but the lesson clear. Under the vast silent sky, in the brittle white wilderness, a wrong turn can shift the entire journey. He harnessed the dogs, the weak one trailing but still eager. They moved. The ridge behind them, the flat ahead. The night was past, the darkness done its damage. Now only the trail, the snow, the crisp air, and the will to press on remained. The wilderness doesn't forgive, but it also doesn't forget. Lauro moved forward, scarred, tempered, wiser. I hope this captures the mood and tension of that episode. If you like, I can expand further or focus on specific moments, dog team dynamics, terrain details, internal monologue to reach full 2,000 words.